U.S. says it won't withhold weapons to Israel, as deadline to address aid crisis passes lacking leverage after election. Biden aides say Israel took sufficient steps to comply with U.S. law. Even if Jerusalem didn't meet all the demands, it was given 30 days to act on. The Biden administration announced on Tuesday that it would not withhold weapon shipments to Israel, as a 30-day deadline for Jerusalem to significantly alleviate the humanitarian crisis in Gaza expired. U.S. State Department spokesperson Vedant Patel acknowledged during a press briefing that Israel implemented some but not all of the steps demanded by the U.S. in an October 13 letter giving Jerusalem a month to act or risk being deemed out of compliance with U.S. law, which bars offensive weapons from being transferred to countries that block aid from reaching civilians. Nonetheless, Patel stated that the U.S. has not, at this time, made an assessment that the Israelis are in violation of U.S. law. The determination came less than a week after Donald Trump won the presidential election, significantly slashing the Biden administration's leverage over Israel, given that the president-elect would surely reverse any decision to withhold weapon shipments to Israel upon returning to office in just over 2 months. Patel pointed to steps taken by Israel over the past 30 days, including reopening the Erez crossing into northern Gaza, opening the Kisufim crossing into central Gaza, waiving certain customs requirements for aid organizations, opening new aid delivery routes within Gaza, resuming aid delivery to northern Gaza after a near-month-long siege, expanding the coastal Mawasi humanitarian zone inland, and instituting periodic humanitarian pauses. The ultimate hope is that through these steps, some conditions have been created in which we can see things like additional aid, additional food trucks, additional measures being taken that ultimately will be beneficial to the Palestinian people in Gaza, Patel said. The State Department spokesperson stressed the U.S. will continue monitoring Israel's compliance with American law and will act accordingly if it deems that Jerusalem has failed to do so. Patel was hammered repeatedly by reporters questioning how the Biden administration could determine that Israel has not violated U.S. law if it was not meeting the standards set out in the letter. Secretary of State Antony Blinken and Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin wrote in the October 13 letter that the U.S. wanted to see 350 aid trucks enter Gaza every day. October ended seeing fewer trucks enter Gaza than any other month this year, with an Israeli military body putting the daily average at 57. Patel revealed that from November 1 to November 9, just 404 trucks crossed into Gaza. What matters most is not just a specific action or a specific item, but the totality of progress, Patel claimed, while saying the humanitarian situation in Gaza remains dire. The State Department spokesperson added that had it not been for U.S. intervention, the handful of steps Israel did take over the past month would not have happened. Moreover, he noted that the U.S. remains the world's largest provider of aid to the Palestinians. Earlier Tuesday, aid groups issued a report requested by the Biden administration, which determined that Israel had failed to meet the vast majority of the requirements laid out by Blinken and Austin in their letter. The report listed 19 measures of compliance with the U.S. demands. It said that Israel had failed to comply with 15 and only partially complied with 4. The report was co-signed by UNRWA, CARE, Med Global, Mercy Corps, the Norwegian Refugee Council, Oxfam, Refugees International and Save the Children. In the October 13 letter, the U.S. gave Israel 30 days to, among other things, allow a minimum of 350 truckloads of goods into Gaza each day, open a 5th crossing, allow people in coastal tent camps to move inland before the winter, and ensure access for aid groups to northern Gaza. It also called on Israel to halt legislation that would hinder operations of the UN Agency for Palestinian Refugees, known as UNRWA, which has come under fire after several of its employees were found to have participated in Hamas's October 7 onslaught that sparked the ongoing war. Aid levels remain far below the U.S. benchmarks. Access to northern Gaza remains restricted, and Israel passed the legislation against UNRWA into law. Israel launched a major offensive last month in the north, where it said Hamas had regrouped. The operation has displaced tens of thousands and killed hundreds, according to the Hamas-run health ministry, whose unverified figures don't differentiate between civilians and combatants.